So back in the shop today, finally getting after it after a bit of a week off. Today, I want to move the cab back about 2 inches. And then I also want to, I'm moving the cab back about 2 inches to see where this is going to sit relative to like pushing the wheel out. So if I move the cab back, then hopefully I'll get a more centered wheel. Before I do that, I want to, I'll have to move the engine back as well. So what I want to do is I want to cut out a little bit more of this area here, because I might end up putting the last cylinder inside of the firewall here. So what I'll do is I'll probably cut up high enough here. I don't want to just leave enough space so the engine will pass through. I want to have enough space that I can lift the valve cover off, because you can build something, but if you can't fix it, then that's a problem. So looking at this valve cover, it's all in one piece, and it's about 3 and a bit inches. Yeah, about 3.5 inches thick. So that means I want to cut up at least 3.5 inches up on this firewall. Okay, so I got the panel cut out. It looks like it was 2 pieces of firewall here. This is the engine side. This is the under the dash side. And so you probably saw me struggling with this thing here. This is the fresh air door out of the from underneath the dash. When they were newer, this used to just flip up. There was a little screen on the front of it, and you'd be able to like get some fresh air when you're cruising down the road. It would just bring the air in, down, and put it on the feet. But previous owner siliconed this all up, probably for the best, because you know they have like a marginal seal on them, and I think I'm gonna probably just weld this in for good. I can't see myself using this at all. And that little boy there, a little circuit breaker. So that's the hole from the engine bay. It looks pretty big, but I'd rather have it bigger than I need right now, and then I'll work on closing it in later. I just don't want to fuss with, you know, cutting it a little bit, I'll take it all out, and then what I need to put back in, I'll put back in later. So coming around the back of the cab, this is where the cab is sitting right now. And then I have this lined up to the edge of the frame rail, and the same on the other side. So this gives me where I was, and then eventually I'll pull this back so I have a frame of reference between the two marks. As for pulling the cab back, this is the tight spot on the engine here. Not a whole lot of space. So what I'm gonna do first is probably take off all of this front here, and then I'm going to move the engine and transmission back, and then I'll be able to move the cab back accordingly. So I took the front grille off, that way I could move the cab back 2 inches. So we did that back here. I ran it back on the new marks. there and there, centered it up, and then I hung this fender back on. And then you probably, I don't know if I'll show the whole thing, but went back and forth, the center line, snapped a chalk line with a plumb line and all that. Got everything back on. But the real takeaway is, I think I got the wheel centered. The fender's about 52 inches long, from way back here, or what's left of it, to the very front here. And then I leveled this this way, and so I got 26 to the back, and I got 26 inches to the front. So as it stands right now, I think I'm pretty close to having it on center in that fender arch. Now I'm hoping the camera doesn't distort it too much, but yeah, I think I'll be able to fit a 40-inch tire under there if I like. There's quite a lot of space in there. We're both 15 and a quarter there at the top. Come on, buddy. Alright, don't play ball. And then as I keep this pointed towards the center, it's easier with a longer one, but we're pretty close around the whole tire. To the front here. Yeah, still lined up. So for moving the whole drivetrain back, I'm underneath the back of this cab here, chilling with my boy transfer case. And you see at this cross member here, we got the transmission mounts back here. They're in the front position. What I want to try to do is move the whole thing back to sit on the rear position. Now it seems straightforward here, and I'm trying with the easiest part first, but I'll probably end up with me making custom motor mounts in the front. So these are the front motor mounts, and they kind of just go like a cradle. This part's on the motor, this part's on the frame, and then that just literally just drops or slots in here, front to back, like that. So moving about 4.5 inches back in the rear cross member there, where the transmission mount is, I think I can pick up the front of this mount here on the back of this engine mount. I think that'll be the same distance back. Now, it's probably easier said than done, but I'd like to give that a shot. So I went ahead and moved the cab back. I have some certain height limitations in the garage, like some light bulbs I want to keep up on the ceiling and my garage door opener. So I couldn't just slide it back. So what I did is I just lifted the cab up with the cherry picker and then just rolled the whole thing forward. So that'll give me better access to my plan here, which is to move this whole thing back to catch these mounts here, and that one to catch the end of it, and see how much space we get in the front. Most of the stuff on this engine has been disconnected, but I still have to disconnect the front drive shaft, and then from there I think I can start lifting and unconnecting and shift her back. So I went ahead and undid the 2 bolts to hold the transmission on, and the bolt that holds the engine mount on. It's rusted, and had to cut part of the bolt off. And then coming around here, and it was the other one here. This one came out a lot easier. I just kind of backed them off for the time being. And then I think what will happen is I'll get this ready to get suspended tomorrow, and we'll start fresh.